now, but why does it keep saying it's recording? Yes, we
Because
will.
Scott's coming into the room. So,
All right,
Dr.
give me a second.
Andre, I
Hello.
don't know if you've been on the hustle before. This is the
Yes,
first
sir.
time we've met.
Yes.
I think your picture has popped up in uh, who people who Zuckerberg think I should stalk at different points.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't.
Andre's great people, man. He's been in several of my Tuesday night practices over the time, but I think this is his first hustle.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
no, I've been
He,
here.
he was part of some of the other failed groups that people said
Yeah.
they wanted and they didn't want to actually participate in. Not that
Yeah, we
Andre
had it on
didn't
Tuesday
participate.
before. We had it on Tuesday
Yeah.
before. So now
Yeah.
it's like
This
it's
is
Sunday.
so
totally
yeah, that's a
different.
different
No,
group.
yeah,
It's-
that's a different
It's
thing.
totally different.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right. My bad.
Now-
my bad. My bad.
Now we have done some practice in here, but this is really more free form mastermind. Kind of it's kind of social hour, support group. Sometimes it's therapy. Sometimes it's tech support. I mean, it goes all over the place. But yeah, we were running this way before we started the practice, and we'll be probably running it way after because I quit the practice a long time ago. Somebody else was in there. Hey, I want practice, and I'm like, go ahead, start one, please. I'll let you do it in the group every week.
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
You're like,
let's-
here's the Zoom link. Knock yourself out.
yeah. So let's jump in. Karen, what the fuck has been happening with you?
yeah, we're all
'Cause I clearly
excited to
not
hear about
important enough
Carol.
to
We
get one
are
of your
all
phone calls.
curious. I've been popping people up and saying, hey, what happened? What happened? Because I wasn't here last week and I couldn't see it and I couldn't hear it. And I'm super excited and stoked and want to hear all about it.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. Amazing. I mean, the best, I'm kind of speechless right now. And I'm in Mexico right now on vacation. So I'm a couple of Tecates in. But yesterday's show was very very satisfying because I didn't know anybody. So my practice show on Tuesday, I knew every single person there. So it was a little different. I was kind of happy that I didn't feel the pressure of if I screw up, they're going to judge me because they're all my friends and they knew it was my first time. And I did screw up here and there and I realized it right away. But that's what practice is about, I guess. And so I was really excited to do yesterday's show for the reason that I did not know one person. And I actually handled it way more confidently. I spoke better. I went into it knowing that none of them know how long I've been doing it. So if things don't go the way as planned, whatever, they don't know any different. And I learned yesterday also that it can change like that. Like I had a plan. This scenario that I did in my first show went great, where this one yesterday that I thought it was going to be perfect too, that they didn't respond the same way. And I started with 9 people and it ended up with only 4. Like I
How many
knew
times have I said in here, Scott?
I
when
can't
you're
even count
performing
them.
hypnosis, you will get punched in the mouth. How many
Yeah.
times have I said
So
that?
so many times, so many
Yeah,
times.
yeah. It's
And
like,
sometimes it's literally,
Well, hopefully it's never literally punched in the mouth.
I wish.
Although
Right.
with some of the stuff
No.
Colin does, he probably deserves it. But I
okay,
think
that's a
I
different
don't
conversation.
I don't think Carol should deserve any of that.
in the mouth.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it was very, you're always learning. I feel very confident with yesterday's show. It just blew me away, the feeling. So she's been advertising for this. We're in Mexico, right? I know nobody coming.
Yeah.
I start walking up and everybody's like, oh my God, they have Vanessa. And I told my friend, I'm like, I feel like a celebrity right now. This is so awkward. Like I wanted to go and hide a little bit, but it also felt really good. But yeah, I could break it down for you, the whole show, and I did record it too. Eventually I'll find a way to share with all y'all, but I was better with my words. I noticed when I listened to my first show, there were certain things I suck at speaking. I learned because I kept saying, and this show, I noticed myself saying it twice, and I really tried to. I'm like, I'd rather have a pause instead of, okay, yeah. So I did better with my speaking on show number 2. I ended up doing, yeah,
that will get better. That will get a lot better as you do more, because
Yeah.
you'll get in the habit of knowing the right thing to say ahead of time, because it'll be a practice skill.
You don't know what you're saying right now. Don't
Right.
worry.
Me?
It'll take care
Yeah.
of itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like literally, if that is the biggest issue of your show, then I'm out of here, because I got nothing to offer you. Okay.
Oh,
Seriously.
Right. There were some.
I am curious, what did you do that worked the first night but then didn't work the second night? What happened? What was that?
So I did a scenario that this is actually one that I was proud of myself. I made up on my own. I chose one person that they were coming into my salon to get a service done, but they do not speak English and I don't understand. So I'm like, you might be speaking Martian, you might be speaking whatever, but a language I've never heard of. So I chose preferably a man, because most men don't go into full service salons. So I was like, this could be more funny. And then I choose another person that they are a language translator, and you understand any language you've ever heard in your life, including Martian, including, throwing in the little hints. And I'm like, in my salon, this guy's coming in. I'm a full service salon. I do everything from hair colors to body waxing, blah, blah, blah. And when I did it the first time, I was blown away how well it turned out. He ended up she said that he wanted his face waxed. She said she understood his language because she speaks jackass very well. It was funny. It was hilarious. Right.
So is my wife, by the way.
I didn't used to speak it that well, but having hung out with Joe Baber for a while, I'm getting a lot better at it.
So
did you freeze, Carol? I think she's frozen. We might have to give her a second. Just let us know when you're back, Carol. Say
She's
hello.
in Mexico, so the cell service might be about as good as mine.
Yeah. Well, hopefully she doesn't drop out, but maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. Oh, nope, somebody else dropped out. Who was it? James disappeared. And there she goes. Okay, she'll be back.
Yeah.
Tick tock, tick tock. So as I said, Andre, this room's a whole lot different.
Yeah, there's folks here. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Up everybody.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
tell us a little bit about what your story is, Andre.
Yeah.
Me, well, I haven't quite got into the comedy hypnosis yet. I did try one earlier this week. It was cool, but I ended up kind of segueing back into just regular hypnosis. There's only one person though, and also she was kind of on edge because it was her first time trying hypnosis. So as soon as I pushed that record button,
hypnosis, Andre.
Okay, the first time I did hypnosis, performed hypnosis.
First time for her or for you?
For her. Yeah,
okay.
for her.
So yeah,
So,
I have a question.
Yeah, I pushed
Give
record.
give us more context on
And
this.
she was a little bit I don't know, anxious about it or something. So just needed to build more time for her rapport, I do believe. But otherwise, it was pretty good. She had forgot the number 7, and that worked. So, but I did try to do forget the name, and that didn't work. But anyway, brought it all back at the end. It's all good.
That's cool. That's cool.
First time trying it.
So
that way.
Was this Zoom? Was this live?
It was on Zoom.
On the streets?
It wasn't live, and it wasn't on the street. No,
it was over Zoom.
Yeah, it was over Zoom.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
So,
okay.
it was fun.
So what's stopping you from doing some street hypnosis in person?
I gotta find the right people.
That question. Let me stop you right there. I'm not asking that question just because I'm an asshole.
No, it's a good question.
That question because I don't know what your situation, what your environment is, or anything.
Midwest Wisconsin.
Okay.
Black guy. So
approaching people on the street. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I say hello and people are like, ah! So,
Well,
I just
then,
gotta find the right people.
okay.
But there's a lot of melanin challenged people over there.
Yeah. And so,
Really, I grew up and went to school in Topeka, Kansas.
Okay.
Okay. It's like,
Okay.
it's one of those things where
Hey, girl.
your
I'm back.
ability to build rapport in the Midwest it goes way deeper than that. You have a Midwestern accent for starters. That helps a whole
Hey
lot.
there, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
It's like rolling a Packers jersey for fuck's sake. Okay.
Fuck
It's
that.
like
No, I'm not even from here, man. But yeah, all right. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
People like them.
People like
Hey,
people like
hey, look, man. I'm gonna give you a piece of advice, and you're gonna think this is the stupidest thing you've ever heard, or you're gonna think this is absolute fucking genius. Purchase a
Oh, I
clipboard.
know what it is.
Purchase a clipboard and put a few pieces of paper on it with some check boxes. Like, I'm serious. Like, you can walk
Oh
up to
yeah, like I'm doing a
anybody.
survey or something.
No,
Yeah.
no, that like it's a prop, but it's a prop that says this guy's not a threat.
Just doing some.
You know,
I wear glasses.
They,
I wear.
they don't even have to know. It's a prop that says this guy's not a threat. This guy's supposed to be here, and a clipboard and an orange vest will get you into more places than you can imagine. You add on a hard hat and just literally nobody stops you.
Got one of those too.
Yeah.
Good idea. All right, sweet. Yeah, I could do that. I got clipboards. Sure. Yeah, that's a good idea. Or
Yeah.
folder or something,
Yeah. All right. Back to Carol.
So
Well,
I'm
she's got
sorry.
internet.
The Wi-Fi, yeah, the
Listen.
Wi-Fi in Mexico is very sketchy. So I
Yeah,
apologize
so's the
about
water. So's the water. Be careful.
that. I've always brought my own water.
That's why
But
you're only supposed to drink alcoholic beverages while you're in Mexico. That way you don't get sick.
yeah, that's some Tecate.
Kills
Or
it
at
off.
least if you are throwing up, you know exactly why.
Yes, oh, definitely. Huh. So I don't know where it cut off with you guys, but yeah, that was a little sample of my scenario.
Okay, so you were telling us how great it went the first time, and that
Yeah.
makes sense because all those people know you. They all know you've been a hairdresser forever. They understand you as that person. But then the second time on the second stage, how did that go?
And the guy that I chose for the customer coming in, he told me that was his first time being hypnotized. And I actually questioned it a couple of times. I almost set him back down because he didn't seem like he was into it. But later, he actually surprised me when, like, I did the whole name thing. He did not remember his name. And so he was into it. But yeah, he stood up and said, I want a haircut. I'm like, oh crap, that didn't go. He was supposed to be like blah blah blah, speaking some weird language, but I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. What language are you speaking? English. I'm like, shit, that didn't work out.
Okay.
But
So
he was hypnotized. It was crazy because I had him do a perverted thing later, and then like his responses, for instance, okay, I have these glasses I gave them. I told you guys about the glasses.
Yeah.
And I decided that it goes, and I switched it to they see their celebrity crush out in the audience, so we don't cause any relationship issues. And he saw Demi Moore. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I switch it. So when they see their celebrity crush, I tell them, you're not going to want to give me these glasses back because you love the view, da, da, da. And then I'm like, now when the next time, whatever, when I say this word, you're not going to see your celebrity crush anymore, but you're going to see me. At first I say, we're on a nudist beach and I'm topless. And so they're like, oh, hey, what up, girl? And then I'm like, but when I decide to take my bottoms off, it's going to be the nastiest thing you've ever seen. Well, so with that being said, and then you're going to want to get the glasses back because you don't want to see that shit anymore. So, I mean, we're in a bar, so I can get away with that, And he once he gave me the glasses, later I went to talk to him and he's like, why can't I look at you? I'm like, you're no longer wearing your glasses. I am fully clothed now, but I don't know why I can't look at you. I'm like, oh shoot, what did I do wrong here? So, but I'm learning as trial and error. But
So something you could have done in that particular moment is just dropped him back in, because clearly he's currently exhibiting hypnotic phenomenon, right? So just drop him back in and say all the suggestions you received throughout the night are null and void and no longer affecting you.
Okay, so it's like kind of just like a reset.
Just a little cleanup, I've never done a stage show, but when I do suggestions at a party or whatever, most of the time I call it couching them. And what I do is I put things in like, when I say it, for the duration of the night till you leave the party, like I put some sort of expiration on most of my suggestions.
Yeah. Did you say, you'll no longer be at the end of the show, something to the effect of you'll no longer be hypnotized and all the suggestions will be removed?
Yeah.
I'm trying. Are
So
you
she
asking me if I did?
Yeah, she's asking
I'm
you
asking
if you did.
do that.
I did, like with every one of them individually, I did say you will no longer, respond to my suggestion. You will know.
Why would you do it individually?
Hang on, I can't hear you.
She asked why you did
I'm
it
driving
individually.
That's a Lisa phone issue.
Yeah, she asked why you did it individually.
Why you wouldn't do it as a group?
Oh, well, I mean, at the final, I told everybody, but I mean, individually, because I had them individually doing different things. When I was done with them, with that scenario, I said, you will no longer respond when I say the word fee. You will no longer.
Oh, that's a Tommy V thing. Got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
I see what you're saying.
Oh,
yeah, okay.
I was like, why would you do? What are you talking about? But now I know exactly. Yeah, I know what you're doing.
I need to drop out for a few minutes. I'll be back in a little bit.
All right, we'll see you soon, Byron.
So, two questions for you. How did you choose people for specific routines?
Oh, I love that. So I started out with, I changed it up a little. I didn't like the hot. I didn't get a good response on the hot cold when I did my first show. So this time I did they're in an airplane. At first they smell somebody good. So I wanted them to like see how they acted, with their neighbors on smelling good. And then they were cold and staying warm with their smelly good neighbor. And then I went to the stink. So I did 3 in 1 just to kind of fill out, see who reacted how. And like one of my favorites, I paid attention to how they reacted and like how I chose certain things. One of my favorites was this really quiet, soft talking, beautiful little girl that she's like, I made her, when I would say the word feet, yell that I suck, get off the stage. And it was just so funny coming from the quiet, sweet little girl, and that just cracked up the audience because they all knew she was quiet and sweet and she's yelling at me that I suck, get off the stage. So I kind of tried to judge how they reacted on I call it the senses one, just the hot cold to see I mean, is that what you're talking about, Colin? I mean,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I judged it through the first group, just to see how they react and who is going to be the star of the show, who can go sit back down. And I was in a bar. It started at 4 p.m., but I couldn't believe how many were completely hammered that I had to sit down right away. I'm like, yeah, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah. No, and so my personal take is that there are a wide variety of drunk people. There are expressive, happy, friendly drunk people. And then there are those drunk people who are going to choose violence. And spotting the latter in a hurry is probably one of the more important skills in this little game.
Yeah, I can see that.
Certainly, if you're going to be working anywhere where alcohol is a a consumption beverage like that for sure. For sure.
Oh, I do got to share with you guys. You already knew my remote story, the plan with my little remotes. Well,
Okay.
I only chose one girl this time. I only had 4 on the stage, so I chose one, and her friend was recording her, and she reacted like she was probably the one of the crowd favorites, and it was when when she
Generally speaking, the girl having orgasms on stage is going to be the crowd's
yes.
favorite.
And the way like when I give the suggestion, I never said anything about having an orgasm. I
Of
just
course
said
not.
that your seat is going to vibrate and it is going to be the best feeling in the world. And when you hear laughter, it intensifies the feeling. So that was my suggestions. And she did so good. But her friend kept kind of getting mad at me. She's like, take the remote from her. This is too much. She is acting crazy. She doesn't need everybody seeing her act like this. I'm like, uh-oh. No. So I did eventually. I'm just like, relax. I was watching her to make sure she wasn't acting all crazy and doing too much. But then I took it. But I was like, oh, somebody got mad at me. Her friend, a female friend that was recording her. But then afterwards, she saw it and she just thought it was hilarious. She's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's never happened to me. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so how do you feel? She was really good. I'm like, see, that's what it's all about. But she's like, can I take the remote home? I'm like, that's so funny. So she enjoyed it and she saw herself on camera, but her friend got mad at me.
Okay, so this is exactly the kind of thing Colin was talking about, right? Friend
Yeah.
friend got mad at you. Maybe friend is jealous. Maybe friend is actually girlfriend. We don't know.
Right.
And we had to be prepared for that. But more importantly, friends can have a lot of influence. And when her friend gets her home and might say things to her that makes her go, oh my God, I was violated. And I wasn't informed that that was going to happen. And that happened. And now I feel violated because my friend slut shamed me and made me feel violated. And it's easier to feel violated than to feel like, no, I really enjoyed that on stage in front of everybody and admit that to our friend. And that's the kind of thing where you can get into problems.
Yeah,
So
I can see that.
this is why you definitely need the big girl insurance.
Yeah, that's the gray area.
yeah.
So how many people were in your Arizona show? How many people attended your Mexico show?
Okay,
So
or attended?
Attended.
Attended. There were definitely more in the Mexico show.
About how many?
I'd say closer to 50 or more, where
Okay.
the Arizona show was more like maybe 30. But I had more people stay on stage in Arizona. And yeah, it started out, we had 9 people volunteer and I had to send up, like I only kept 4. So where the Arizona show, I only sent back 1 person.
Okay. Lisa may probably possibly see this differently. And if she does, take her input as well. I don't care how many people what the number of people is left on stage at the end of the show. I don't care about how many people I get on stage to begin with. What I care about is that I have the right people on stage throughout the show. It's like 4 of the right ones that's awesome. It's like and my concept of show 12 is way too many at the end of the show for cat herding purposes.
And I did learn talking about that, like it's too many people. I kind of got lost with where I was. Wait, what suggestion did I give her? Like, I've got to slow down on that too, because I had like 5 different suggestions going on. I kind of lost my place for a minute, but I mean, I was able to recover. But that's another, when you said 12 is too many, I'm like, yeah, that's a lot to keep up with.
There's a reason that even though Colin hates it, a lot of hypnotists basically do the exact same show every time they do a show, because it's hard to keep track of a whole bunch of different variables. And if you want uniqueness, that means variables.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Well, I mean, okay, so I'll chime in. I I don't care. I don't care for 12 people on stage, but I can handle 12 people on stage. I can handle 20. It doesn't matter to me. Alan loves 12. I like to start my show with 8, but that's just me. And
Yeah.
again, it doesn't matter as long as the people that you've kept on stage are good and they're responding. And if you end up with 1 at the end, so what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've talked to you guys enough to
The-
prepare me for that, that I'm like,
the thing-
I might get 1 person on stage. I just want to make
Yeah.
it the
Am I
best
the
show
only one
ever.
who can't hear anybody talking right now, or?
you are the only one. Yes.
I can hear you talking. I can hear you talking, but I don't know what you're talking about because we were
I,
having
I I
conversations.
shook my head to answer him. He understands.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay. I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Okay, anyways, go
But the
on. What were you saying,
predictability
Carol?
factor.
I was just responding to Lisa talking about the 8 people, and I kind of went into it with the expectation that I might only get 1 person on stage, but I need to go into it with the mentality of I'm still going to make it the best show ever, even if I only have 1
Yeah.
person. But
Yeah.
even though I only had 4, it didn't like disappoint me at all. I proudly let the others sit down because I just knew they just weren't, weren't where we needed
Yeah, and
them to
sometimes you're
be.
going to have
And
somebody on stage that just does nothing, and you can also utilize that. But
yeah, like
as far
the,
as cutting your
yeah,
skit out, your we'll just call it your Martian hairdresser routine for brevity. I wouldn't cut that skit out. I would keep working it. It's not a failed skit until it fails 3 times in a row, really.
yeah,
It's fine tuning. I mean, I have a yappy Chihuahua routine, and it hits sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't hit at all. But I'm not taking it out because it hits enough that it's funny when it does hit.
yeah,
And
Oh, no, I haven't heard of that.
the variable comes in with how people respond, because sometimes the whole panel erupts into doorbell dogs, and sometimes they just don't do anything. And I don't care. I just keep going.
yeah. But I was actually amazed at with that how it failed yesterday. Like right away, I just kind of gave the audience a look like, well, okay, that didn't work. And so I go, okay, you no
They're just
longer.
yeah, you no longer speak, whatever. I would work on, I think, and I haven't watched it, so I don't know. I would look at the difference between your instructions to set number 1 versus set number 2.
Yep.
And sometimes we remember it in our head different than how it actually went. And it could be the phrasing.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what I did when Yappy Chihuahua didn't hit a couple times in a row. I went back and I watched the ones where it did hit, and then I went, oh, I switched those words. You know,
I have a
where they
question,
were.
Carol. I have a question,
Okay.
Carol. What went spectacularly well in either show? What was great?
Honestly, the response from, I mean, what went great in both? Well,
Is there
both
a
times.
reason we're looking at your hair? Are you trying to hear us?
Yeah, because it's getting
Okay,
loud in here.
that's cool. That's cool.
And I tried to go outside and the Wi-Fi didn't work, so I'm inside and there people are starting to walk in. So I'm having to put you up to my head so I can hear you.
It's beautiful hair.
So
you
you may
must
want
know.
to,
It's beautiful hair. You must know a great hairdresser.
right? Sometimes it helps to turn off the video. It makes the Wi-Fi a little stronger.
Yeah,
Just-
so it's processing a little less.
Just a tip from someone that does Zooms from weird locations.
Well, let me. I see. I don't even know how to do that.
So,
But
Carol,
let's
Not
see.
that we don't want to see your beautiful face and stuff. 'Cause we do.
Okay, so what went best from both shows?
Yep.
Both times I was just amazed at. Gosh, even though I don't even know what to say because there's so much that I was extremely happy with both shows. definitely my favorite. The first show was the hairdresser routine. And I think it was more, I was proud of myself because I came up with it on my own, but, and it worked. And when he spoke Martian, I'm like, holy shit, this is really working. I love it. But, the whole thing, like having them actually respond well to my responses. I think one of my favorites is when I say a certain word and they yell at me to get off the stage and it actually happens. The other guy, that's where, okay, Joe was there. This was a big mistake I made in my first show. I had a gentleman sit back in the audience, and when I said the word feet, he would yell at me from the audience to get off the stage, you suck. Well, I am done with my show. And I realized, holy shit, he's still sitting in the audience. I never finished. Oh my God. So I went up to him afterwards. I'm like, okay, so give me a minute. So you will no longer respond to the word feed. Da, da, da. I'm like, total mess up there. So this time I made her stay at her chair when I did it. I'm like, I'm not going to, I mean, it would probably be funnier if she was sitting in the audience, but I was like, I gotta
Oh,
definitely.
you know
you
what?
buried the lead there, Carol. Joe
was
was
that?
there. You buried the lead. Joe was there. Joe,
Yes, there we go.
you
Perfect.
see
Perfect.
in her first show.
Well, I got there late, but what I did see was nice. It's actually funny. I got there just before the.
Joe was late? No. Do you need a new
Yes.
tardy slip?
Yes, I do actually. Actually, in fact, I needed a really big tardy slip. But nonetheless, I actually got a tardy slip there, James. I don't know if you noticed that, but I did get a tardy slip, or an actual tardy slip.
I sent you another one, even though you were mostly on time for this class. But yeah.
Anyway, no, I got there just before the language at the salon, and it was actually pretty good. Last part there that I was able to watch. I've got it on camera. I still figured out how to get it off my camera so I can share it back to her.
And
so
cool.
Joe,
I
you know, I'm I'm a fan of constructive criticism. So don't worry about hurting my feelings. You can be as honest as you want on here. Just ask Colin. He knows I like constructive criticism. So
what
I will
was the
not be
worst?
offended.
What was the
Well,
worst thing about her show, Joe?
Yes.
It didn't start an hour late.
I would say that would be about the worst, actually.
So,
I didn't get.
so
Go ahead,
you have
Colin.
seen 2 hypnotists first shows in a row. Would you care to compare and contrast those
so-
2 shows?
That'd be interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I like the last part of her show better. Even I wasn't
Okay.
there.
What was different about it?
It was funnier. She was talking to everybody, and then at the end she gave them something that's really cool. This gift of this gold stone that was pretty good. She really took care of the audience for having participated, and then for the other people in the audience out there, not just participants. I said that wrong. But for the audience as well that participated, so they could also partake of that gift as well, and then took them through it. It was actually very nice. I like the way she took care of everybody there at the end. That was just awesome.
Thank you, Joe.
So, Carol, I have a question. How did you manage your set list?
My set list.
Okay, Colin. Colin, inform us of what a set list is. Because it sounds like Carol managed her set list in her head.
Oh, I know what you're saying now. Like on the scenarios. Okay.
Holy
So
crap.
I
Got it
learned,
all written out.
and I failed. I failed the first time because I had it on cue cards, and I had everything like from the intro to everything, and I totally failed because I got nervous and I lost place in my cards. This is show number 1. So then I winged it the rest of the time because I'm like this. Yeah. So the first time was a bust. What I did this second time, I had one paper. So I had 3 papers. I had one paper just to kind of give me hints. Okay, intro, this, be sure, don't forget to say this, just really brief. And then when it comes to my scenarios, I wrote them all in different places on one sheet of paper and just kind of eyeballed it and kind of played the crowd on, okay, now would be a good time for this. Now would be a good time for that. It worked out so much better.
So
it worked out so much better.
Where was the paper? Like, I know Colin tapes it to the floor. Some people tape it to the back of the seats. Where'd you?
Because of the setup, I had it over by my speaker where nobody in the audience could see these papers. So both times I had good setup where I had a table behind where they were sitting, and so nobody
How
could
many
see it. But
speakers did you have?
It would be because I'm being kind of ghetto right now, and I knew I was going to come to Mexico too. I just have one speaker for my music that I keep over by my paperwork, and then I have the microphone speaker in the back of the room. So I have the 2 different, but it's only because it's small places. But this October 4th one,
So you're not using a mixer?
No, I'm doing all the music myself on my phone. Joe got to see me do that. I'm doing it all. Like I said, I'm being super ghetto.
There is a way though to have everything. There is a way though to have everything coming out of both speakers.
Well, I think eventually when I actually make money doing this, that I can actually afford these more.
Hey, you're doing great.
I made it work.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Yeah,
I think there's an easy addition to that, but I don't know what system you have yet. So.
Yeah.
Before I get off, I do have to share with you guys my feedback I got after the show yesterday.
Yeah.
I was on cloud 9. Like I get goosebumps right now talking about it because I could not believe the amazing feedback coming from strangers, just saying they'd never seen anything like that. It's absolutely, they're asking me questions. Do I do private parties? Because down here in Rocky Point, most of them are business owners down here. They're like, would you ever come to my business? I had several people want my card to come to their restaurants. Then I had a couple people who still live in Phoenix. This one lady, this one's big. She works something to do with corporate in her company. I seriously have goosebumps talking about it. They're doing a big event in Sedona in November. And she's like, I'm going to talk to my supervisor about having you. She says, what would you charge? I'm like, you know what? Just get back with me and I'll let you know. Because right now I'm not sure what I would charge. But she's like, I'm seriously, that would be absolutely. She goes, you might want to, not have the nasty bush when a girl drops her pants, but everything else was amazing. I'm like, I can do a clean show too. But she loved it. She goes, I think this would be so amazing for our company event. Like, is this really happening right now?
It is. It is really happening right now. Please tell me you collected all of those people's contact information.
I did not. But I gave them all my cards. I gave them all my cards. I'm just kind of playing it by ear. I'm learning.
Okay.
I'm
from now on,
get their info. Your info goes nowhere.
Yeah. I don't even care if they get your info, but get their info because you don't have a lead unless you have their info. If you can't contact them, you don't have a lead because they may not remember you when they sober up without a reminder.
Right.
How many times did a guy give you their number and you called them?
Well, I don't know about you, Lisa, but it doesn't happen to me. I'm just kidding.
No. A guy gave you their number, not you gave him your number.
Oh, okay.
The guy gave you his number.
And that I don't call them. You're right. You're right. Absolutely.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Not that you gave him your number and he didn't call you because duh. Well, it's getting loud in here. I'm trying to, do you guys any more questions about they can't wait for another week or?
If you know what, you're on vacation. I think we've got the gist of how things went. So if you want to get off of here and drink some more of that fine Mexican alcohol, feel free.
Tecate cerveza.
Did you have any other questions, Colin or Lisa, or any other criticism or constructive feedback?
It's like
we'll wait for the video.
My big thing is You've gone out there and you fucking did it.
Hell yeah.
Okay. You didn't stay stuck doing training. You didn't come in here making a bunch of excuses. You are
That's
fucking
right.
doing it.
And the
Okay.
next training you take will be so much more impactful because you fucking done it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to that. So I do have one more show before I go do Kevin Lapine's training. It's October 4th and it's local and it's going to be a big venue. So I'm glad I had this
Are you
little bit of
getting
practice.
paid for that one?
Huh?
Are you getting
Repeat
paid?
that? No. So these 3 shows, I wanted to do them for free to get some practice before I go to Vegas. But I've already said to myself and to everybody else, after my Vegas training, no more freebies. So I just wanted to do it for my practice, and I'm glad I did. I'm learning a lot. Hey, it paid my bar tab last night. Just kidding. But no, but seriously, no more freebies, Colin. I promise you. Like for myself. But I wanted to do this to just give myself more confidence. Like I'm okay with it. I'm on vacation. I get to do a show. I meet people and I'm learning and I'm okay with, but only 3 freebies, Colin. So this lady on October 4th, when I asked her, she's the very first show that I scheduled after I came back from Massachusetts. She said she got super excited because she always has bands in her place and it's local where I live. She says, honestly, if this show October 4th goes well, I'd consider hiring you for the snowbird season for the winter. I'm like, so I've got to make that big. That's why I'm like, I need more practice before I do her show because I want to make October 4th really, really good and impressionable. And I think after learning about the remote situation, and I think I'm going to keep it a little more clean. And now I get it. I can still be perverted with my comments, but if I want this lady to hire me, I better keep it a little cleaner.
You said earlier that you got all messed up on your cards and you had to wing it. So I'm sending a meme that Colin is a quote from Colin into the chat for you.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite Colin quotes.
All right, I'm gonna look right now. I mean, I get it. I get it now.
Yeah.
I love that. It feels
Yeah.
good to actually.
What are
Get
the dates of the Kevin Lapine training?
It's October 18th to the 22nd. So the 22nd is supposedly he's got 4 students. That supposedly is the day that all 4 of us will be actually doing a show. And that's why I'm so glad I've had this practice beforehand, because if I was not out here doing what I'm doing now, that would be so nerve-wracking and scary. So I want to make that the best, amazing. And that's why after this, yeah, no more freebies.
Carol, when you go to your salon, if you
Yes.
have a bad day at work and you don't do so well, I want you to think for a second what the consequences of that are when you mangle somebody's hair. Now, I want you to think about what the consequences are when you go out there on stage and you do a routine and it canks on you. You deal with way more pressure every damn day, multiple times a day, Carol. This is easy for you.
After the practice, it gets easier. Like honestly, I've got to tell you, I mean, of course I was super nervous, but also very excited and confident. Just the fact that not a lot of people know about hypnosis and me going on stage and they don't know if it's my first or second time. You know,
there's it's a low risk thing. It's not like you can fuck somebody's hair up.
Right.
Okay. So
but
this
I can piss off a friend because she had an orgasm on this set. So trial and error.
She'll get over it. She'll come to the conclusion that it was a good thing.
Too funny. But yeah, it was great. I was excited to talk to you guys and tell you about it. I think I'm gonna go continue my little party over here and Yeah, I'll definitely talk to you guys next Sunday. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it went
Can't
well.
wait.
Everything's good.
All right. Have a good evening.
All right. We'll talk to you guys later.
Right on. Congrats, Carol. Nice meeting you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. All right.
Colin,
Mhm.
how exactly do you handle your set list? Yeah, I know you said you tape it to the floor.
Okay. So, first off, this is military background talking. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. Okay.
Yep.
So that set list is a plan A. I can't think of a single show where I followed the set list exactly as I put it together. Okay.
But how many shows can you count where you had a moment where you were like, what do I need to do next? And you use the set list to continue?
It's more of I'll look at it down on the floor and I'm just sometimes it's like I'm getting a vibe about something with the audience or
Yep.
one of the volunteers. And I kind of know what's supposed to be coming and I'll look at it so I can make a decision. And I've gotten pretty good at vamping and and I make a decision. Okay, we're going to pivot here, or we're going to take this routine and we're going to do it differently than I walked in here thinking I was going to do it. The show I did Thursday night, it's like very ended up because of the vibe I got from the audience. It ended up being a different type of show than what I walked in there expecting the audience to really want. And so it's like there were pivots, and it was a fantastic show.
Good.
This was a show that was the post awards dinner after a seniors golf tournament. The youngest person in the audience was 50 years of age. One of the 4 stars of the show was 80 if he was a day.
Awesome.
And he just absolutely killed. He was awesome. The exciting thing to me about that is that I know that if I can go out there, deliver the kind of show I did on Thursday night with that particular demographic, that guess what? I can go out and do cruise ships because that's going to be a lot of the demographic.
Indeed.
And so that was big from that piece. I got 2 clinical clients out of it, which didn't walk in there looking for that, but they happened. And these are people with a lot of money, and so they, okay. I'm not going to cry about that. And both of them on challenges that I enjoy a lot helping people out with. It's not going to go into some deep, dark place that I'm going to have to go get my own therapy for. Again, it's no exaggeration there. I know you're looking at funny, Andre, but yeah, no, there's no joke there for a change. It was a very smooth show. All my technical stuff, I had made some changes on that, and all my technical stuff came together better than it ever has before. So I was happy about that piece. But no, really, really strong show.
Did you have a question, Andre?
Yeah, what do you mean by your technical stuff? Do you mean your actual your equipment or?
So yeah, equipment. It's like cameras, mixer board, all the cabling, the digital audio recorder that's capturing board sound, connections of my headset mic, my handheld mic, the ability of my handheld mic to capture what the volunteers are saying, which is easier said than done because volunteers don't know how to talk into a mic. And when you try and position it the way they're supposed to talk into a mic, they fight you on it sometimes.
They move their face and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, it's like, so I had replaced my mic. That helped out with that a lot. And yeah, all the technical stuff that went really, really well, and it assembled quickly. There was no death metal band stomping on shit before my show and causing my mixer board to spark out on me 3 minutes before showtime. This time, yes, true story. Yeah, no, great feedback. I do I take, when I got the bodies available, this one I had them, and I've got the volunteer who seems like they'll be great at it. I do this one piece early in the show where I explain, for some of us, as the years pass, we realize it's a lot easier to watch TV with the closed captions turned on. Sadly, I don't have any closed captions I can do for this show. However, the person I'm touching right now happens to be the world's greatest sign language interpreter. She is so good being a sign language interpreter. She's created her own sign language. And what's great about her sign language is she's so expressive with it that you don't even need to know her sign language in order to know exactly what it is she's saying, because she is so super expressive with it. And so, so she starts off doing some good things. And then I'm going into this one bit where I've created what I call this routine, Hypno Court is now in session. And I assign people different roles. And the 80-year-old man who was a lawyer before he retired, he was the judge. I had a defendant, had a prosecutor, had a defense attorney, and I'm explaining the charges to the judge. It's like, and the defendant is charged with carrying an alligator into a Wawa in order to get a free Slurpee. Now, my sign language interpreter is going through all this, and she's kind of off to the side. I can kind of see her sort of in my eye line. And when I say Slurpee, she goes, and I immediately stop. I stand up. I go, for a free Slurpee. And she does it again.
Settled for a burger and a grape snow cone, buddy.
Yep.
That's awesome.
No, that's hilarious. That sounds like it was a great show, Colin.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Got 2 more bookings this week. With the help of my friend at Chat GPT, my buddy, wrote basically a 7,000 word, very rough draft of a new book. Got more to add to it. More I've added to it since that original very rough draft. Working on a very major that I've shared with Bob and James, AI project that will change the game completely. This has been a hyper productive week.
I would love to hear about the new AI project if it's not if it's
Not here.
Not here. That's fine. Well,
Not
hit
here.
me up.
Yeah.
I understand proprietary. I
Yeah.
get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That shit helps. Yeah, so when you do get your book out there, is the book about comedy hypnosis, how to do it, or is it what is it?
So the book is titled The Law of Action versus the Scam of the Law of Attraction.
Nice.
And I will tell you that it is written in a way that's really helpful. It's also my product. So we're not doing it so it's all serious. Okay. It's like, I want people to laugh. It's written in a way that's really easy to get through. It's like, there are definitely some funny parts, a lot of which are at my expense. It's designed to be provocative and get people to think and challenge the way they are thinking. And most of all, I hope to inspire anybody to action. So they start doing shit the way Carol's doing it.
Oh yeah.
It's like to me, it's like, I'm bummed that she's doing her next show for free because I can tell already that she ought to be getting paid for this.
I'm kind of at where she was at about the practice or whatever, but at the same time, yeah.
But she did say this is the first show that she booked, so technically.
I mean, you guys are the pros at being on stage about that kind of stuff. I mean, I could see that, maybe she's got to get the kinks out first and then, okay, figure out how to deal with different crowds and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, as long as hopefully this is our last one doing it for free. I don't know.
Right.
I can't speak to how Lisa got started, but I know that Colin did a lot of impromptu, on the spot hypnosis before he ever got on a stage.
I did impromptu, on the spot street hypnosis before I even took any formal hypnosis training.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
it's like
nice.
And
I asked my neighbors, they said they were having a party, and I said, "Did you want a hypnotist?" That's how I got started.
Nice.
It really can be that easy. Yeah.
Said,
Colin is the master of booking, I do believe. I understand why he's writing the book on the law of action, but I'd really like him to write some sort of training on how the fuck to close a booking and how to book in places other than, no offense, Lisa, the state fair and the county fair and
that's not all we do.
I know.
That is
I know
not
it's not all
we
you do.
It's just
and
now
they're great
that's what we
shows.
do.
They're great shows, but it's the only training out there. All the hypnotists are saying, do high schools, do fairs, do corporate. And that's the only three options that are available. And meanwhile, Colin's over here like, you know what? How about a fucking aircraft carrier with a bunch of spies?
No,
We can both
literally,
cruise.
I did a show at the headquarters of a spy agency you've never heard of before, the National Reconnaissance Office, where I literally had to go and do that show without a single electronic device. And when I pulled onto the facility, they put their doggy into the trunk of my car and in the engine block of my car and inside of my car before I was allowed on there.
And another famous hypnotist who has trained Colin, asked him, how the hell did you get that show?
and And I explained that there were a lot of Navy guys there, so Billy to suck dick helped out.
Hey, you do what you got to do. Do what you got to do.
Didn't appreciate that joke.
Mm.
Well, I don't know. The Army doesn't really
It's the
get into that.
goatee.
Can I tell you?
Ouch.
No, it's like it's like I wasn't trained on that either, but when I was in the Army, but if you want to ask me a question like that with that tone,
Yeah, fair answer. Fair answer.
okay, it's like,
but that, I'm serious. Like,
Rivalry, man.
I like, and again, I've said it before, and I'm gonna say it again right now. Okay, the fact that you managed to book multiple recurring shows after the first show you ever did, having watched the first show you ever did, tells me you are a master fucking booker. Okay, because I would have never had you back. Okay, like just,
Where's
and
the
I know
first
you
show?
could.
it was a
it's-
disaster.
He's very good at networking. That's just,
Yeah,
he
it,
thinks
it
That's
absolutely
inspiration.
is. Uh,
No,
That is
no,
inspiration.
it's like if you Google or go on YouTube, do you can pull up a good video of my show by searching on YouTube for Hindenburg disaster.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's a really awesome video of Mike's show. Captures it perfectly, but nobody
It was a show.
nobody knew
No.
what they were looking at. And
Yeah.
it's like
Including me when I
enough
watched it.
phenomenon. I got enough laughs that
Yeah.
people thought that they had just discovered fire.
Yep. Yeah. The audience just they thought it was a great show. And compared to some things, it was a great show. I have seen worse shows. Not by people who are continuing to do hypnosis anymore, but Colin powered through, and he does shit. The last show he shared with us was fucking amazing. I'd have been in stitches in his fucking audience the last show he shared. So
That might be just Colin. I mean, I heard there was a lot of fire at the Hindenburg. Just saying.
yeah. But yeah, definitely get out there. I think that that getting out there and doing a bunch of street routines. You'd ask, how do you remember to do the routines and stuff? It's in a private question in the chat, and so the set list helps. But get out there and practice the routines. You said you did a missing number routine, right? You said they lost the number 7. Now you don't always have to do this, but anytime I do a missing number routine, it's always a number lower than 5. The reason it's a number lower than 5 is because you can extend the bit further because it's a number lower than 5, because you can have them count the hands on this finger and there's too many, or the fingers on this hand, there's too many, the fingers on this hand, there's too many. Now they've got 12 fingers. So first they count them, they've got 11 fingers. Then they count them, they've got 12 fingers. It's just another step you can do in the bit if you choose a number lower than 5. But yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, just practice them,
I just jumped in, man. I don't know. I try to put together a loose list of different things here that I could do, and then I just tried them out. But
yeah, that's good. That's good.
all right.
You always
I
see.
think your challenge is you're trying to do it online for shows. There's a limited number of things that translate to that
Touch, yeah.
for street style, but it's not impossible.
And forgetting the name is actually a pretty hit or miss routine, even when you're good. And to do it over Zoom, with somebody who you've never hypnotized before, you always see on YouTube and TikTok and everything, it looks like, oh man, they do these routines and it works great. But what you don't see is the 6 people they did that routine with that it bombed, because why would they put that up? A few of them do, and respect to those people who put up their bombs, but most of us, most people, they just put up the times it goes great. They don't put up all the times that it fails. And there's a lot of times that it fails, especially in street hypnosis. Things don't work. Now, that being said, just because they remember their name right now doesn't mean you can't go, yeah, we know what that is, but now you forget it. You know, yeah, of course you know your name, but I told you to forget it. You know, you forget to remember it. Of course you know it, but you forget to remember it. Or do you remember to forget it?
Right.
You know,
Yeah, I tried to build up a lot on that, and it would like snap every time, that you would forget it, and every time you try to remember that you forget. But yeah,
and I'll tell you this too. It is a lot easier to land your name is EIEIO than it is you forgot your name. Or your name is something else than it is to land you forgot your name.
It's like slipping something in the place or something. It's like, taking a card to get in your house or whatever if you lost your key or something.
Would you say that's accurate also, Colin?
It's a difference between a negative suggestion and a positive suggestion.
Yep.
And so the thing that will sometimes happen with the negative suggestion is that
this is good.
I hate to use this term because it means too many different things. So I'm going to use a different term. So if you've got a volunteer who is going down super, super fast and super, super deep, that volunteer is, I think, more likely going to have difficulty accepting the negative suggestion, and instead their subconscious is going to boomerang that suggestion on them because they're such awesome subjects. Whereas if you got a volunteer who's just kind of, they might be able to go ahead and accept the negative suggestion without it boomeranging on them. But I definitely prefer the positive suggestion of giving them a funny name and playing off that, and then having them on stage call their best friend and say,
all right. Who's got the Darth Vader breathing?
You're gonna call me Barbie.
Like who's
my name?
I like the Barbie. Who's got the Darth Vader breathing going on?
Oh yeah, I got like this ocean wave thing or whatever.
It's you. Okay.
Yeah, I just took it out. Yeah, that's right. Okay. But yeah, so I get that. It's easier for somebody to remember something that's been, emphasized more than whatnot than to forget something.
So if you were going to help someone break free of a smoking habit, you would not give them the suggestion, don't smoke, because what their subconscious mind takes in is smoke. You wouldn't give them the suggestion to stop thinking about smoking, because then all they're thinking about is smoking. Instead, we're giving them positive suggestions as far as that habit replacement. And the same thing works when you're coming up with silly things for people to do.
So, Bob, you've been quiet. How's the last week been? Get up to any adventures?
I'm actually starting to get back into it now. More.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had I have a bank that I'm moving away from. So they wanted to take me to lunch. And the guy that went to lunch was very interesting. He started talking and talking about banking and stuff like that. And then before you know it, I asked him a question. And he was a little shocked at the questions I asked him. And then he started saying, why am I telling you these things?
When you're leaving the bank, so they send the fixer to take you to lunch, and you end up taking the fixer with you.
It was funny. Oh, but it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get back in the habit a little bit more. I've been consumed, by the business more. So not doing as much. But I've been talking to Steve. Steve's helping me with the book, with the ebook. We're going to be making progress with that. So I'm kind of excited.
Steve Sopacek?
Yeah.
Is that how you say his name? I think that's how you say his name.
Oh, it's a long one. Yeah, it's
No, it's Sapachana.
oh
Sopachana. Sopachana. I mean, Kunshik would know. Sopachana.
Is it Italian?
Sopachana?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Sapachana.
Sopachan.
What's up? What's up? Achana.
Sopachana. I'll believe you.
Sapachana. There you go.
I'll try to remember that.
Right? You think he'd have changed it?
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra. That's bad.
I can only imagine what his Air Force drill instructors put him through for that name. I got to ask you about that.
Yeah, that I'm sure that'll be a good story.
It'd be funny.
they used to call him Soup for short. That's what they would call him in the military. Because
Oh, yeah?
yeah. So it was interesting. Because it is a long name, there's no doubt. Going back to what you were talking about, the name forgetting. Mike Mandel talked about that, and he said that it can be very difficult to do. But he said if you put somebody under pressure and you do it and you're quick enough, because they're going to remember it, because it's obviously something that's very familiar to them. But he does it so quickly and puts them on the spot that they're getting peer pressure, right? So he would say, you forget to remember your name. And he would do so quick and say, okay, what's your name? You'd be like, that's right. And he would just quickly then say, yeah, now you have your name back. And then boom, they would say the name.
Right.
So
Well, and another thing, like a lot of times when you see people do it in stage or not stage, but as street guys do it, they do the same thing right there. They're right on there. And every time you watch them, every time the person goes to say something, they'll interrupt them. That's right. It's right on the tip of your tongue, but you can't remember it. It's like, no,
They'll
they can
snap their
remember it.
fingers at him. And
You just
kind of stuff.
interrupted them. They were just fixing to say it, a lot of times.
Seen that too,
But yeah.
yeah.
Or also the suggestion that it's right there, but it's just stuck on the end of your tongue, and it just stuck there. That would be another way to go about that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, Bob.
I just did it on my own, but I was actually watching somebody actually doing that at one time.
I've seen that too.
amnesia is not, well, for stage it might be easy, but for like when my mother had cancer and she called me and had to tell me that the cancer went to her brain. I had to come up with something really ridiculous to get her to forget the whole conversation. So I had told her that she was pregnant. And at the time she's 73 or so. It's impossible, right? But I got her on such a track of thinking about this and how we were going to lay out the baby shower, and she's hysterical and everything else. And then I had her go back to her story and continually keep jumping from her story to this story that she literally, and then I kept saying, and I guess you forget. And then I would start on with the other story. By the time we were done, I said, "What'd you call me for?" She said, "I have no idea."
That reminds me, Bob, because I had forgot to remember, but I remember now. We all had a question for you. I don't know if you saw it. We've been asking it repeatedly. But Bob Martin, what's the title of your talk going to be?
Oh, okay. Yeah, a couple people called me and asked me what's going on. I don't look at the Facebook on that. I like your title. Is an itch really an itch?
Yeah. Is an itch ever really an itch? I do like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's mysterious.
Yeah.
And people will, just as I.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one. I think that's a really good title. Yeah. So when are you going to submit your proposal?
So you know, all being transparent. In my thoughts, I wanted to have at least the book written and done, and then be able to walk in and do the training side of it. But I don't,
But you know,
every
this
time,
class isn't till next July. You think you can put a book
Right.
out between now and then?
yeah, I mean, we're almost done. It should, I was banking on January or February. I would like to see it done.
Awesome.
But I think, you know, I had a conversation with a couple of you guys here, and I guess it really doesn't matter. It's just, you know, I'm just sharing my experiences and how I've done it throughout the years.
So who called you asking about the?
Oh, I can't divulge that.
You're more than welcome to share anything about that piece from our conversation.
Okay, so Colin did call me. And it was a wonderful conversation,
Awesome.
and I really appreciate it. We got talking about other things, but he did bring it up, and we did really.
And if I can jump in, and if you need me to shut up on anything, just tell me to shut up.
I would never.
I will.
Well, okay. but I was clear with Bob that I wasn't going to bully him online about this. I did tell him that the credibility thing is nothing to be concerned about, and anybody here who has the same experience of having listened to Milton Erickson audios is free to agree or disagree with me. But my perspective is, having had the experience of listening to Milton Erickson audios of him doing conversational hypnosis, having witnessed and experienced Bob doing conversational hypnosis, my view is Bob is the best ever. He's better than Erickson.
He is the best person I have ever seen do conversational hypnosis.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not even like it's a different league. Like to be honest, it's a different league than anybody else I've ever seen.
Yeah. And so it's like I, you know, I mean, I want to learn everything I possibly can from Bob, because I think he's the Tom Brady of conversational hypnotists, even though in this group, most people probably don't understand even who Tom Brady is, but
I do.
I do.
Yeah, Anyway, that's a pretty huge title right there.
Yeah,
pretty
it
big,
is. It is. But
Wow.
once you've been bobbed, Andre,
You know, I've in the past,
awesome.
I have called Bob one of the best kept secrets at Hypno Thoughts Live. I have made it my mission to make that statement not true.
mm-hmm.
I do not want Bob to be a secret anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I want everybody to know who Bob is. That's all there is to it. And if I've got to bully him online and get other people to help, I will.
Yeah. And
there's a difference between bullying online and just playing around, screwing around.
Yeah.
Being Bob is actually a very good thing, Andre, in case you were wondering.
Yeah.
And to Bob's credit, Bob's somebody who has an awful lot of success. He's achieved an awful lot. And he also has a tremendous amount of humility, which those two things don't always go together. But Bob has that. And he's, you know, and so I get where he's coming from by not wanting to say, oh, I should be able to do this and people should line up around the block for my stuff. You know, I get where that's coming from. However,
I do too.
He's just that freaking good. So.
And I will tell you this, Bob. Scott Sandlin asked me to introduce you to. and I just didn't get a chance at Hypno Thoughts. So
Yeah, I
he was
think
like,
when
I gotta,
we were-
when we were doing that training in that one bar area,
yeah,
after hours, he was like, I gotta meet this guy, but I don't want to interrupt him.
oh,
And
okay.
so he didn't want to interrupt he didn't want to interrupt what we were doing, but he was like, no, I've he's been hearing, not just from me. Let me put that away. So but yeah, I can pretty much guarantee you that if you submit for a proposal, you're going to get a spot. And you probably could even do a pre or post and not have any issue with that being a thing.
Is there time like an hour or 2 hour slots and 4 hours and how they do it?
There are 1 and 2 hour slots this year. There are not going to be any 4 hour slots this year.
Okay.
So, and I know
You got to do pre or post.
yeah, and I know you've been concerned about is that enough time to teach? You got to, when it comes to this thing, you're not trying to dump all of your knowledge from 20 years into somebody's head in a 2 hour class. You're trying to give them a taste of what's possible.
Yeah, I mean, create the awareness at least.
Yeah.
And start from there, like we did.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I am completely willing to be the guy on the mic while you're doing the work, breaking it down for you if I need to do that.
Okay.
I may not be the best person to do that, but I understand kind of what you would want done in that situation. I think. I mean, you've seen me kind of do it on the fly. So if you think that the way I was doing it fits well, I'm willing to do that for you.
Co-sell of hypnosis.
Man, I'll tell you, I honestly don't want to be in front of your room while you're breaking it down because I don't know that I could concentrate on what I'm actually doing. But no, Bob Martin is the whoever the hell you said of hypnosis. I mean, I've had conversations.
I was an announcer.
I assumed, but I didn't catch the name.
Your
but-
mic is a little bit soft, James.
Oh, it's
Okay.
over here.
Yeah.
That's why.
But no, Bob breaking down
Call me soft.
what I'm doing while I'm doing it live on the fly was game changing for me. So I wish there was 2 of you, so one of you could be doing the thing and the other one could be breaking it down for everybody, Bob.
Mm.
But yeah.
I think that's cool what you did for your mom or whatnot. It reminds me of like before I started hypnosis, and this is kind of how I got into it. Mother of my child, she was having a seizure. Well, and she was the driver. So I'm like trying to calm her down, trying to change the situation. I start singing a song that she's really familiar with. She starts singing it with me. We kind of get out of the state of epilepsy or whatnot, and we're able to pull over and get out and switch seats or whatever, and full-blown seizure. So but what you did was you built an association with like something really fun and meaningful in that way, so that it just kind of broke down that heaviness of the major situation. So that's huge. I think that's great.
And you said that heaviness, is that lighter now?
Yes, I don't know. Wait, what's going on right now?
About to get bobbed.
Yeah, I'm getting bobbed right now. What's happening?
I just
It's
asked
like
the
that-
question.
Yeah, it's like that one we were talking about few months ago or whatever. It's like, and it's easy now because it's hard, wired into who you are. I think that's I use that one a lot. It makes it more.
Well, if you were your biggest strength in one word, what would that be?
I try to look out for the person, I try to take in as much as I can about what's going on with their situation. And, I can't do that all the time, but I think it's the compassion, really.
Compassion. That's awesome.
I'm getting bobbed right now. Oh, let's go. Let's go.
That's just a little sample, but just asking questions in the right way and simplifying them, but getting your unconscious mind to respond rather than just just having a conversation and talking, and then just rambling on. It's a little more structured.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if there's anything that we could pull out, the most important thing in all this is just ask, what does that mean? What, no matter what it is. And that's really the key to conversational. What does it mean? What does it mean for you?
You can even use that in a more formal setting for that matter. One of the classic drill downs, which sounds really silly when you analyze it, but when you do it in practice, it actually flows really, really well, is to keep reporting, why is that important to you? Or why does that matter to you? And, oh, I wish I had a better job. Why does that matter to you? Oh, I really want to have more money. Or conversely, I really want to have more time with the family, whatever it is. Why do you want to have more money? Oh, well, I really would like to travel more. Why is that important to you? Well, my mother's getting old and I would like to go see her on the other end of the country. Well, why is that important to you? Well, because when I was a child, blah, 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 blah. And it sounds really structured, silly, and pedantic when you analyze it. But in a conversation, a client or a contact doesn't get that. They just kind of go, wow, now I really understand why I was wanting this. And it's so simple to do that once you see it and you practice it a little bit, it becomes a very, very powerful methodology. And I mean, most of us tend to believe that people have most of the resources that they need to solve their own problems. They generally have a lot of the resources they need to identify their own problems, but they have trouble getting to it. And those kinds of techniques can be so simple yet powerful to get people into a space where they can get rid of some of the fluff and get to what they mean.
Oh, yeah.
And just to let you know, Andre, and you'll understand this after you've come to several of these meetings, you were being bobbed from the moment you showed up.
That's awesome. Does anybody do anything with like nonverbal hypnosis?
So are we talking about chloroform or?
Oh wow, no, wow.
2x4s.
In there. Whoa. Yeah, no, I got this one technique. It's for like, it's kind of like EMDR, but it's not regression. And I've only done it with like a couple people, and I need to find more people to do this with. And they're like, "What? I was not expecting this or whatnot." It's simple. All you do is just keep eye contact with somebody and have them follow your hands. Have them keep their eyes on you, and then you're doing this or whatever. Then they'll copy this, and then at a certain point you'll realize that they lose track, and then you like kind of, when I make a sound, but they're not expecting you to jump forward, and they're still looking at you. It like snaps them into this. You tell them it's a dream. They snap into it, and then they're telling you this whole story about what's going on in that situation and stuff. It's pretty cool. That's the only one I know that's long distance that's nonverbal. I mean, eventually it's verbal because you're talking about, what's going on, what you see, what. So it's pretty cool.
Sounds interesting.
Sounds
yeah,
trippy.
it's weird, but it's trippy and it works. So just thought I'd share that.
What was that, Lisa?
So that sounds trippy.
Totally trippy.
So do you do this? Did you say you do this long distance, like over Zoom?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still have my Facebook information, or did we get on Facebook? I don't remember from last time.
Joe's always up for practice, and you said you needed people.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Joe's a trance junkie.
I would like to experience that but I'm a somnambulist, so it'd be interesting to see if I would converse, how it would move for me.
Yeah. I think this is my Facebook.
And Lisa,
if it's not,
you're not a somnambulist. You're an Esdalian.
I know I'm an Esdalian, but he doesn't have the dictionary, so I had to use the vernacular of the current.
Yeah, Asdale, or whatever it's.
She basically races Tacoma State any chance she can.
That's great that you can do that though.
So,
Um,
Andre, what if you
My,
did that technique with one or more of us in here now? Not to put
it'd be
you on the
kind of
spot,
hard,
but putting you
right?
on.
No, I mean, I think it'd be kind of hard to keep track of everybody all at once. I think it's a one-on-one kind of
Okay,
technique.
we'll pick somebody.
Okay.
Pick Joe, pick me,
Yeah.
pick
Yeah. You
Scott.
want to try it,
I
Colin?
think Joe
Sure.
volunteered first.
Okay, let me put
Um,
my Facebook in here. All right. Okay, I just want to make sure that that was my Facebook because I think it changed something. All right. So what you have to do,
Make it,
let's go for Colin.
okay.
And
hold
since
on
you've
here.
been like
Get back over here. All right.
also
Are we-
very resourceful, thank you. Let's try this out. You'll have to make it big so that you're only seeing me. And I don't know how to make sure that this is not going to flash over to someone else. I guess it'd be mute for everybody else.
Give me just a moment, and I
Oh wait, Joe
believe
wanted to
I
do
can
it. So
see
he
you.
changed his name to Practice Dummy.
Okay, I got you here.
All right, cool. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I just told you how I do it. You're gonna be just watching my hand. It's gonna be going back and forth. You're gonna actually do that with your hand also. And I guess it's trying to make me raise my hand, so I don't know how to change that now.
Hey,
I guess it'll just
pinned,
pop up. If it pops up, it pops up.
Yeah,
I pinned you
okay.
to the first screen, Andre.
Okay. All right.
So you should be pinned now.
All right.
All right.
So it'll just show my hand raised, but don't worry about it, all right?
Okay.
Okay. All right, I see Scott for some reason though. Let me just here, I'll just move this over because I want to make sure I'm seeing Colin only. All right.
I pinned him to the second screen.
You plead to no, I'm just kidding. All right, so here we go. So just follow my hand. Oh, I've got my camera reversed. Okay, that's all right. That works. And you just breathe slowly. Just follow my hand, look in my eyes. Sorry. I don't know why it just jumped over. I guess I never had this many people on. It switched. Okay, so I'm moving your screen over. Okay. All right. We're good? Sorry. Thank you. So we'll just do this. And when it's the right time, I'm going to make a sound. And when you hear the sound, you'll be able to go into your past to a moment where you're able to let go of any kind of anxiety you had in the past. Rum. Okay. I'll just take some time, go to a time where you had some kind of stress, anytime in the past. Okay, you got it. And okay. Now, how do you feel in this moment?
I'm under.
Okay. So, if there was something that you could do now that you're here present, but also watching yourself in the situation, if there's something you could do to just let it go, some kind of movement. If you were able to do some kind of movement of your body that would just push that away. I'd like you to do that now. Very good, very good, very good. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Blow it away. And the next breath you take, nice and deep, we'll blow it even further away. That problem. Resolving. Resolving that issue of the past, as it is the past. And when you feel that it's farther than you can even realize how far it is, getting further and further away, just take a nice deep breath in and release it all the way farther and further and further, so it doesn't even exist anymore. And you can open your eyes when you're ready. Hey. Thanks for participating. I wasn't expecting you to close your eyes, so I was just kind of working with that. I didn't tell you that part.
So there's something that I've set up to happen when I actually enter the state of trance, so that I know I've gone into the state of trance. And on a scale of 1 to 10, that physical sensation for a non-physical touch over Zoom phenomenon, this number is really high, but it was a 5 or a 6.
All right.
Which is big. It's like when it gets north of that, it actually starts to get physically painful.
Okay.
Which, that's a good thing. Not just because I'm a freak, but it means I'm really, really under.
Okay.
So that was really, really awesome. Thank you.
What
Good.
would
I
you
hope
call
everyone
that
can use
technique
that.
with the hand? That was interesting.
I don't even know. It's like it's a regression kind of technique. I think I liken it to like EMDR. It's kind of like that.
So
you know?
Mike Mandel has one where he calls it the REM eye induction, where he has you do this following. So it reminded me of that. But then you had Colin mirroring it, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Then
And
just
this is a technique you came up with yourself, or you learned it somewhere?
Yeah, actually, my teacher out in France, Dr. Marco Barrett, does the nonverbal stuff. So it's like that class was like Harry Potter. It was like going to Hogwarts, man. It was really
okay.
weird.
So I'm curious. You call it nonverbal, but there was a lot of verbal.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
This part was nonverbal, all right. I mean, I said that, it is verbal.
Yeah.
Where did the sound come from? I wasn't paying attention, but it was like wow, wow, wow. I was like, oh no, it's the didgeridoo.
I swallowed a didgeridoo. I swallowed one. I can't get it out of there.
That was him. That was him.
I need to learn how to do that.
I'll teach
It's
you.
called Tibetan throat singing.
Tibetan throat singing. Well, there's different kinds of throat singing from different parts of the world, but yeah.
Hey, if you do the throat
ladies
singing well enough, Colin can help you get a naval show.
The ladies really dig it. The ladies really dig it. The throat
singing. They do. What else that
so,
mouth do?
Colin, I have a question. I was observing, obviously. It looked to me like you were ready to go quite a ways before he took you, I guess, however you say it, before he like brought you down. Like you looked like you were pretty good into trance a good bit before.
I was into trance long before I closed my eyes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I know that because I have, as a defense mechanism, an alarm that tells me when I've gone into trance.
Did you set that up?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And I originally set it up because I was doing a clinical session with someone, and whenever I'm doing hypnosis, it doesn't matter if it's clinical or on stage. As a matter of fact, when I step on stage, I'm instantly in a state of trance, and all kinds of phenomena are firing off, especially time distortion, which is why I always make sure I can see a clock. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to have that set up because I know that's going to happen. But it's like, but I was working with this clinical client, and I'm taking him under, and all of a sudden I realize my client's out and I've been out. And I look over at the clock I had on the wall that was set up behind the client. I realize, hey, we've been sitting here for 5 minutes, and it scared the hell out of me. And so it's like, okay, I got to do something here. And so I set up this specific thing that happens so I instantly know, so that then I can either embrace the trance or stop the trance. Either one, whichever is appropriate for me. And then,
You're that good, man. It's just like, but you got to be
No.
the first one too to hypnotize yourself.
well, it's not about being good. It's about doing a ton of self-hypnosis. And so that makes it so that, yeah, I go on, I'm an easy person so long as I want to go under.
Mhm.
And then I was in some other situation where someone who I'd set a boundary with chose not to respect the boundary that was set crystal clear before we started. And so that made it even more important that I'm able to take more.
Colin, the experience you had, did you go back to a moment?
I sure did.
Okay. Did you resolve?
So
did you resolve it?
So of all the things that are strange and bizarre about me, and that list is long and impressive. One of my big fears.
That's the set of data they train ChatGPT on, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense now. Oh my God.
One of my big fears is death by fire. Not smoke inhalation, fire. Why? Because when I was in first grade, I was already a voracious reader. And this is back in the olden days, long before parents started teaching their kids to read at 3 years old so they could get into Harvard Medical School by the time they were 13 and shit like that. But I just loved reading. And I read this book about World War I biplane fighter pilots. And this book has stuck with me to this day about these horrific deaths these men had when their planes caught on fire. How they would literally yeet themselves out of the aircraft without parachute, because parachutes weren't really a thing then. They would literally yeet themselves out of the aircraft. And for whatever reason, that has stuck with me to this day. And I don't know why.
So you went back to that, and that's where you were?
Yeah, that's where I was.
And how did you resolve it?
Yeah.
Just pushed it away. I don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't need it anymore.
You sure?
So was it easy for you to recall that, or did you consciously have to think about that, or was that something that just came to mind? Or
I just
was it like
allowed whatever popped in to pop in.
That's pretty good.
uh, uh, things that are going on right now that might be stress points. Every last one of them is all it requires is just that I take action, and I'm at a good place for getting things done every day right now. And so for whatever reason, that was one that popped in.
Thank you for
Awesome.
sharing the experience and trying that out with me, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Bob, you were starting to ask something else.
Was there a purpose and a meaning to having that?
I think there was.
You know,
Um,
did you preserve the learnings from it?
well, I'm not really clear on some stuff with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I
And
didn't go into that.
and yeah, I mean, it's like there's some bizarre connections here that don't really make a lot of sense to me, but it's like I know that fear doesn't really serve a purpose for me anymore.
So the learnings are there already.
Probably the biggest place where I have felt that fear is whenever I'm staying in a hotel. And I think I've got other tools to make it so that hotels are probably a little less dangerous for me than the average person. Yeah, it's like bizarre connections that rationally make zero sense to me. But I was interested in having the experience because I love all different kinds of inductions. And I just kind of let it go where it went.
You let it go. That's great.
Yeah.
And that's what I was looking for, right? Because you didn't push it away, you let it go now.
I think it was already going, and then the suggestion was to push it away, blow it away, something away.
Breathe
And
away,
so
yeah.
it was like, okay, just send it off out of there. You don't really need it.
Awesome.
Good. Yeah, your breathing changed too. It's nice.
Carol's gonna pop back on in a minute. She sent me a message.
Okay.
Hey,
Oh.
cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad it
Thank
served
you.
you.
That was
Glad it
awesome,
served you,
Andre.
man. Glad
Yeah.
it served you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. I did try
I
this
think
once
your
with someone in
screen is a
person.
little
It
bit
did not work.
hypnotic, Andre, with the dripping and the flash, whatever that is. It's almost like a
It's
matrix.
It's the Matrix, yeah.
Yeah, I tried it. I put my little thing in there. I use it for my TikTok. I dress up like Morpheus and I'm like, what if I told you that your subconscious mind does this or that or whatever?
Oh,
How many followers you got?
I don't know. I need to get back on there again. It's just been,
Cool.
I have not, but I've got things lined up to go. I just, the editing part sucks for me. I hate that.
All right. Go ahead, shake my hand. Want to sleep?
Okay, Colin, you playing a video?
Is it
All right.
video?
No, I was trying to
Video,
pull
video.
something up to share with Andre.
Carol, you gonna drop that screenshot into the chat so everybody can see it?
No, okay. I don't know
No?
how to do that, Scott. I'm doing it
Oh,
from my
that's
phone.
okay.
Can I? How do I do that?
Yeah,
Let's see.
you should be able to pull up the chat. I believe you swipe up and you get the
Put it in the
chat at the
chat?
bottom. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, in the chat. Okay,
Yeah.
let me see if
And
I
then
can
you
do it in
you
here.
should be able to drop it in there.
Hang on a sec. I'm back on the Zoom meeting. I think
Mhm.
Justin's. Okay, okay. Hang on. Add. photo. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Hello. I'm trying to do this with a few cervezas in, but I was so excited I had to share it with you guys. Okay, here we go. All right. Done. Okay, select. Done. All right. All right. It should be in. Oh, it says, oh, there it goes. All right.
All right.
All right. All
Well,
right.
we haven't got it yet, so
It might be. It's coming all the way from Mexico, so it might be a
all
little.
right, there we go. New message.
Did it go? Cool.
It looks like it's still done. Yeah, there we go.
I sent it to you and Colin, so Colin's aware of it.
What are okay? So Scully's was the venue.
It is
Okay.
the place that I did my show yesterday. Correct. I liked how
Yeah.
she said that we need something different and you are it or whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's so awesome.
I shared it in case anybody didn't see it there in the chat.
That's
Okay.
fabulous. That's fantastic.
Wowie,
That
wowie.
is
Excellent.
fantastic.
Good job.
Imagine when you stopped doing it ghetto, as you said.
Yeah,
It was off
right?
to a very strong start.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, holy shit, is this really happening? It's crazy. But
That's outstanding. Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I gotta talk to you guys. I don't know, figure out this whole pricing thing. I don't even know how to charge.
Talk to Lisa and Colin.
Yeah, Colin said he's gonna have a chit chat with me to help me out with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. So there you go. One of them reached out to
Now.
me.
Great job.
Yeah,
Thank
great
you.
job.
And
Great
is
job.
and Scully's is the one in Mexico.
Yes, and I come down here at least 6 or more times a year. It's usually like every other month. And I actually want to buy a house down here, so it would be perfect.
Yeah, definitely want to get that insurance situation completely lined out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know about insurance in Mexico.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
don't
help you
either.
with that.
I don't
But
either.
I know there are hypnotists that do perform in Mexico.
So probably there's
something
some
you
insurance
can-
available.
There's like some kind of
Might
riff
even
you
not
can
be
say,
an issue.
like, if you participate, then you're agreeing to this and that and that. While you have it on camera, or does that work? Is that
So
still-
does it
Does that
does it
work in the
protect you?
US?
Does it protect you in court? No. Should you do it? Maybe, because psychologically it protects you some. Some people will
Record
think
it.
in their own head, I can't do anything because I agreed by getting up on stage, you know. But legally it doesn't give you any fucking protection.
Yeah, good to know.
Well,
The only
maybe
time
if
it would is if they remembered it different than actually how it happened. And that would really show that you did not do whatever they said you did do.
well,
Yeah, that's great. You can pop back off. I just thought it'd be great for you to pop in and share
I
that with the
know.
group.
I'm
I
like,
know you're
"Oh,
a few cervezas in.
I just got
so
this after I hung up with you guys.
Good
but
job.
I had to share
Yeah.
it. Thank you, Lisa.
That's
Thank you.
awesome.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'll let you know how it goes.
All right, sounds great.
Yeah. All
Sounds
right.
great.
All right. You guys have a good night.
You too.
Right.
Don't do anything Colin wouldn't do.
Well, that sounds like
You
a
know
good
what?
time right there then.
She did our first show.
Yes.
It's like, and if there's ever a piece of advice from Scott that somebody should listen to, it's don't do anything Colin would fucking do. That's it.
Would do? No, I said wouldn't do.
That's
Don't
what
do
I said.
anything.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Right. Go for experiences. Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I can share a video briefly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But only briefly. It can't last more than 4 seconds.
That's a little bit longer than that. Okay. So crap. It's not going to let me show this
Why not?
because it's Netflix.
I mean, I can see your screen.
Okay. Is it all black?
Yeah, it's all black.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
see a play button.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it might
oh,
not
wait,
work.
okay,
No,
maybe it will still.
I see something. So here, you know what? Screw it. Play it. I'll edit it if I need to, if I ever get around to putting videos up.
Okay.
We'll call it fair use.
So Mike Veck, as you're trying to put it together here early.
Okay.
Yeah, no video.
Okay, so let me
Damn, Netflix
Yeah,
news.
I can see the thumbnails.
yeah, let me just kind of set this up here because the audio is what's important
Yeah, okay.
on this. So this is called The Saint of Second Chances. It's about Mike Veek, V-E-E-K, the son of former Chicago White Sox owner Bill Veek. And Mike Veek basically got booted out of Major League Baseball because of the Disco Sucks promotion disaster that the White Sox did that was his idea. His dad was forced to sell the team as a result of that. And he basically was blackballed from Major League Baseball. Bill Veek subsequently went out and started buying minor league teams. And in this clip, he's talking about his mindset, his approach to buying a minor league team.
Tell me why this isn't a pipe dream.
I really felt that baseball had become kind of faceless. If we had come here and said, come out to Midway Stadium and see some great baseball, we would have been out of business in 45 days and we would have deserved it. So all day long, I would walk around my new home, Midway. I think for the princely sum of $200 a game, we were going to rent it from the city. People always would say it's the ugliest ballpark in America. The press box was virtually non-existent. The owner's box was a John Deere tractor. It had trains that ran by non-stop. You couldn't get any lower. We planted flowers everywhere. We had artists working on different murals. Everything that we did was scotch taped together and glued. I took every speaking engagement that I could get.
There's just a fun thing we got going over here that we didn't have in town before. You could see his vision and what he wanted to do.
I specialize in cheap theatrics, ask anybody. But I'm third generation. I'm proud to say that hustlers have been doing this for a lot of years in my house, and we're too stupid to do anything else. We don't know anything else. If you do the same old tired things, then that's what you become. So you have to take chances. And I want to show you that I have no problem sharing a cup of coffee with my canine friends.
So he gets to do all kinds of different stuff. Kind of sweet, I think.
So that last bit there, that last quote, when we keep doing the same old tired things, that's what we become. His entire mindset to taking this minor league team and doing whatever it needed to do to get people to actually care, to come out, sell out 600 games in a row. That is exactly where I'm coming from. And if anybody doubts how committed I am to that approach, I am taking one of my favorite routines, and it is no longer part of every single show. My opening routine, the amazing hypno fart, is no longer part of every single show. It's being replaced by something called the spirit animal.
Okay.
Yeah. Am I sometimes gonna bring back the hypno fart? Yeah, high school shows are probably gonna get the hypno fart. Okay.
When you're with your people, intellectually wise.
Yeah. No, look, my son tells everybody, look, you're a 13-year-old boy in a 50-something-year-old man's body. It's like, yeah, I embrace that. But it's like, but this new routine, which I'm still haven't done yet. I've worked on it already, but it's like I'm taking out one of my favorite routines because I'm not comfortable being comfortable. I'm not comfortable doing the same things. And so when you mentioned earlier that it's like, I know you hate that Colin hates doing stuff, but hey, they work. It's like, no, that's not good enough. Because actually, my take is they're not working. Because if they were working, we wouldn't all be toiling in anonymity right now, the way we are.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment, you know. But at the same time, they are working on a level that may not work on the level you're talking about.
It's like, so here's where I'm going to challenge that.
Yeah.
I know there are some folks, I've been called out by one of them, in this meeting, who get a little tense because I will not hold hands with everybody and sing kumbaya and talk about how great we all are doing. And they will call other performing hypnotists great. And the only people in that category I consider great, one's dead, the other's no longer performing. And neither one of them got that far. What's happened is the people at the top right now got to a place where they got comfortable. And they're doing what they've got to do to protect being comfortable. And
I mean, legit.
It's like comfortable is, it's like, you know, if I wanted to be comfortable, I would have kept working for the government. It's like, I would probably be more comfortable right now going back to work for Verizon. It would have been safe.
I see it kind of like this, you know. I'm going to use magic to compare it to, right? There are, you know, you've got the big guys, you know, David Copperfield, Penn and Teller.
I just went to see Penn and Teller.
Penn and Teller, right? You've got the big guys, right? And that works, right? But you've also got the guys who are down there doing birthday parties for 13-year-olds, and that works. You know, they're different levels.
It doesn't. So here's the difference. I'm glad you used that as an example.
Yeah.
Okay. The people you mentioned,
yeah,
and Teller, Copperfield, Blaine, Chris Angel.
Sure.
Okay. Probably everybody in this room has heard those names.
Yep.
I could probably walk out to any of my neighbors and they would know all four of those names.
Yeah.
All of them do original stuff they created.
Yep.
They're constantly creating new original stuff.
That's
and not one hypnotist name is going to be remembered or known the same way. And so instead of, it's like the folks that are Bob Bunny Boy type of shows that are doing a 6-year-old birthday parties are happy to get paid $75 for doing it. and they got their material online and there's zero original thought to what they're doing, it's like, yeah, no, I'm not okay with that.
And that's fine that you're not okay with that, right? But what I'm saying is I'm not necessarily okay with that either, but I'm okay with somebody else being okay with that. I'm okay with somebody, because not everybody can be the top level.
No,
not everybody can be that.
level. But
I agree.
Nobody's the top level. And the people who are at the highest level on the performing hypnosis side are comfortable with staying comfortable.
Yeah. Lisa, what were you going to say?
David Copperfield does not only do original material. He knows the basics of magic. And that's why he's able to create things that seem original. And even anything that a hypnotist does that's deemed original these days, there's nothing new under the sun. And I agree that we need to adapt. I agree that we need to grow as a profession. I don't necessarily agree with your methodologies, but it doesn't matter to me that you want to do them. I don't say, oh, no, Colin, you shouldn't do that. I say, that's so cool. You're doing, we talked about what was the appropriate markets, right? What was the appropriate market for you? And so absolutely what you do in your markets is appropriate. And being able to pull off CIA level shows, kick ass, dude. That's fucking kick ass. That doesn't, for me, that doesn't take away from what I do. I have no issues that what you do and what I do are totally different, but we're in the same field. And I know that, yes, a lot of us are complacent. I also know that we had this little thing that happened where kind of the world shut down and live entertainment was one of the first things to go. And it is time to change things up and revamp them. But what does that look like? Who knows? Is hypnosis ever going to be mainstream? Is there ever going to be a David Copperfield of hypnosis in our lifetime? I don't know.
I don't know either. But if it is, I really hope it's Colin Chapman.
and
it might well be.
I mean this very sincerely.
Yeah.
I want to see it be somebody. Would I like it to be me? Sure. But guess what? I'm going to be perfectly fine if it's somebody else. I just want to see somebody push the envelope and do something that gets seen, that gets the attention, that gets people to say, oh my God, I had no idea it was that.
Well, there are people that have pushed the envelope and that have been seen. And a lot of those people have closed doors on hypnosis in a lot of venues.
I would say
So
right.
I think you need to revamp your mission statement there.
I think you might not. I think when I say push the envelope, I don't mean
Major.
I don't mean, to use Carol's language, perverted shows. Okay.
I'm not even talking about a perverted show.
Right. What I mean when I say push the envelope, that should only enhance the profession, not close doors on the profession.
I think a lot of your mindset around hypnosis may come from your background in comedy, and how in the comedy genre, it's like, it's really faux pas to steal someone else's joke. To do someone else's material is really faux pas for comedians, and whereas hypnotists are pretty much like, nobody's complaining that somebody's doing hot and cold on the stage. no hypnotist is like, oh, that's mine. You shouldn't be doing that, right? And there aren't.
You did hot and cold, yeah.
What was that, Lisa?
Ding, ding,
Yeah.
And it's like I'm not complaining.
I mean, I do a spirit animal or power animal routine. So, of course, is what's important. I do a voodoo doll. It kind of sounds like.
So it's one
But
of
I know
those,
you, Colin. So I'm not upset in any way. Don't get me wrong. I totally know you, and I know where you're coming from, and I know that you have the best interests of our field at heart. Sometimes it's the approach that you use that other people that don't know you could maybe think something different is going on.
Right.
Because I see people in the thing telling us to take a deep breath. We're fine. We're not having it. We're not having a marital spat, you guys.
Yeah, I think Joe threw that kumbaya in there to make it clear he was being a little sarcastic.
Oh yeah, totally.
But it's like, see, I'm not upset when
it's just too good to pass up. I'm sorry.
I'm not upset when somebody does hot and cold because it was somebody else's. I'm upset because there's no attempt to be original. Now, I'm upset when somebody steals word for word tracks from Michael C. Anthony and Mark Savard and acts like they discovered fire. Okay.
Well, I agree with that. I don't think that they should plagiarize word for word. And a lot of times when I'm doing research, not necessarily in the stage arena, but when I'm doing clinical research, I know there's 10 other hypnotists that have put out a program like mine, and I will purposefully not listen to theirs or read any of their stuff because I don't want it to sound like I took their material and spun every third word and made it my own. My resources I know are different than like, so we'll just take, I mean, my main product is hypnotic breast enlargement. I never listened to anybody else's. I know Wendy Friesen put one out. I know Victoria. I know Steve G. Jones did. I know there's a bunch of them out there. I've never listened to theirs. I have listened to one that was really awful. But by none of those people, Scott King knows who that was.
Hi, Bob.
And
I can guess too.
Everybody in the room probably knows who that was. Oh, it was bad.
We just won't name names. It was really
rough.
bad.
Lisa, what did you say your program's about?
Breast enlargement.
Oh, okay.
So natural, no pills, no shots, no surgery.
Yeah, if anybody's actually worried about their recording selling, maybe they should listen to that, and then they wouldn't worry quite as much.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Joe was here.
I concur, and I think that's a lot of like I think Carol felt that way. She went and watched a show and she went, well, shit, if that person can get up there and do it, I can do it too. Right. And I think that all of us have had that feeling. I think Colin just has that feeling a lot more. He goes, shit, why is that person doing shows?
I want there to be somebody. I would say right now, the only person that I've seen that I would say might be or may have approached that level would be the guy whose name I can't pronounce, but it's Frank.
Zach.
Zach. There we go. Zach. There we go.
The guy who decided he's going to retire.
Yeah, he's going to retire.
27 or whatever the hell it is. We decided his name was Pinche, but that's not his right name.
Yeah. So Zach, who had set himself up so well.
He did. Maybe he got scared. I don't know.
He tapped out. He doesn't have the charisma. And he kept doing the same thing over and over again. And now all he does online are Disney voiceover imitations.
Which he does really well.
but
his
his
next thing?
audience doesn't think so.
Well, I don't know about
Well,
that.
that's because they're following
He's,
him
There was-
he's
from the old
transferring
days.
one audience to another. But yeah.
When
People
your
that-
audience
people that
is
like-
shrinking,
Right,
Yeah.
but it's a different audience. His audience showed up for hypnosis, and that's not what they're getting. That's why his audience is shrinking.
Yeah.
yes,
I'll be
And
right
who
back. My
knows? I
popcorn's
mean,
done.
and
Maybe
Okay.
he'll swing it around and come back, or maybe, sometimes things happen too fast for people and they get scared and they don't know what to do. I don't know. I don't know what happened with this guy, but I also know that we had this little thing that happened in the middle and the whole world.
Well, and that
was,
and that
you know.
contributed to how much he blew up too.
Mhm.
Like there was a lot of perfect timing there. And honestly, like he
Assumption of
could
life.
have, like you said, he did have the charisma. I've never met him in person. I don't know how much charisma he's got. I've watched his videos. I can say this, like he had the look I would expect the person who becomes giant to have. Right? Like he
like
could
Joe
have.
Kidd. We could put Joe
Yeah.
Kidd. Joe Kidd could be big.
Yeah.
He's got the look.
Yep,
He's got the
absolutely.
charisma. He's got
Yeah.
the talent.
Yep.
He's got the background in theater.
Yep.
Got the hot wife.
He's got the golden handcuffs too, though.
No.
Yep. He does.
And we don't know. Zach might have had golden handcuffs too. Who knows?
I doubt it. Zach made plenty of money with his social media that he'll never have any handcuffs again. If he unless he was just really stupid.
He was really stupid. If
Well,
you-
and
I know
we all are when we're
inside
young.
information that you
Yeah.
that I have, Scott, that you're denying. But it's like, train wreck.
I don't have inside information.
No.
Oh,
I have
No, he's
inside
saying
information.
someone else does.
Yeah.
You're saying you're contradicting me on a couple things that's based on some insider
Okay.
411. And it's like, has not since January of 21 made more than $100 a month from social media.
That's rough.
That is
That's
rough.
That's rough, especially because I would estimate that he was probably making at least 4, if not low 5 figures a month from his social media at its height, maybe even, getting up there mid 5 figures.
There were several months that were closer to 7,500.
Yeah.
And then
that's 4.
which it's like that's strong, but it's like you got to continue to take care of your crops.
Well,
You
yeah,
gotta feed
yeah.
the beast,
And
yeah.
I don't know why he decided to change the trajectory of his life. I changed the trajectory of my life multiple times before I settled on this path. So more power to him, you know. But yeah, like I said, I think, like I was thinking, well, who could I go out to my neighbors and be like, have you heard of this person? And maybe get a yes. And he's the only person that comes to mind.
Well, it depends on the generation, but yeah.
Right. And I was going to say that, and they would probably have to be under 40 because otherwise it's going to be a no. But yeah, I agree. We don't have that in our profession, and I would love to.
Well, I bet a lot of muggles mundane know who Freud is, but we don't consider him to be one of our great hypnotists.
I mean, well, yeah, he was a hypnotist, but yeah, that doesn't count. He's not famous because he was a hypnotist. That's why it doesn't count. It's not because he's Freud, but it's not because he was a hypnotist that he's famous. Not even close, and it's definitely not because he was an entertaining hypnotist. And I don't even know of any, even from the distant past, I don't even know of any big entertainment hypnotists that were
Ravine,
Mesmer.
Well, yeah, I mean, that quasi hypnosis. Ravine was pretty big. There's a couple other people in other countries. Paul McKenna.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to England and you say, who's a hypnotist, they're going to say Paul McKenna. So it's also here that we haven't had that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Marshall Silver was on some late night TV show way back in the day, and he was spoofed on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty big. What were you going to say, Colin?
You were right about the comedy influence, but for different reasons. It's
Okay.
like the place where the whole comedy side influences me is I'm paying attention to what the people who are successful in that field do and what they're able to achieve. And I know we have people who are as talented, and it's like, you don't have to be pretty.
No, you don't.
Impact. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it
doesn't
makes
hurt.
it easier. Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
I actually am going to argue as I continue to go through my mind of who the most successful people are. It's about being funny.
I don't know. Tony Robbins, he's quasi funny, but he is probably the hypnotist that I know that makes the most money. But again, he doesn't promote himself as a hypnotist.
He doesn't do it as entertainment.
That's debatable.
Shows are like a rock concert.
All right. I'll be back.
Okay. I got to jump off. I got dog duty.
Unintended.
Catch you guys next
There's
week.
not too much duty.
Duty in the duty.
Yeah, there's going to be duty involved.
Ciao.
See you next time. Go on.
I'm getting tired myself.
Couldn't resist swimming. It looked like you money, Bob.
Screw you, buddy. You guys have a good night. I think everybody's peeling off here now or something. I gotta let my dog out too.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, check out this mushroom I found earlier. Whoa, I never found one this freaking big.
Dang.
Right. I had a smaller one out in the wild, you know. Just scavenging.
Is it a medicinal?
I don't know the medicinal use of that one. That was a puff mushroom.
Mm.
So these sons of bees get pretty big. I say this one's like a good, maybe 2 pounds.
That looks
2
like
or
the
3.
size of a basketball.
Right? Smells pretty good. I cut one up earlier. I fried them up. I made like these fried mushroom fries. I'm trying to give them away, and I don't know. Wish I can hand them to you guys. It's good. It's damn good. So anyway, you guys take care. I will look into the medicinal uses of that. Maybe I'll have bring that up in the chat next week.
Cool. Have a good night.
Be sure and
That's
holler.
cool,
Looking forward,
guys. Huh?
Be sure and holler. Looking forward to practicing.
For sure. Oh yeah. I got your Facebook now. Sweet.
All right, cool.
All right, man. So.
Yeah, I take a pee and half the room disappears. Jeez, guys.
That was a long tinkle, man. No, I gotta let my dog out and stuff, and call my daughter before bed and stuff.
That's been 2.5 hours, man. Get out of here. It's great having you. We'll
It's good
catch you next
being
week,
here.
hopefully.
Peace out. And how do I say your name? Is it Alv? Is it like Alvin? I got
It's Albert.
Albert.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
It only says ALV on there.
Yeah.
I just saw
Okay.
that.
Like, do I mix my letters here? Okay, got it. All right, Albert. Cool. Sean, the hypno dude, hypno guy. Sweet. Nice meeting you, Byron. Peace out, everybody.
Here we catch you later.
They won't let me leave. I've said.
Oh.
So,
There you go.
how do you feel about Neil Diamond? No? Then again?
Yeah. I'm not really much into impersonator.
So how you been, Albert?
Okay. I
Just been working on my book. Getting that up to speed. That's it's in the second phase of editing now.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
I'm submitting that now to the editor again, and then hopefully be ready to move on to the next stage of formatting and cover design.
Heck yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
So did you end up taking either of those trainings you talked about?
I'm doing the AI one.
Yeah, you did go ahead and do that. Cool.
Yeah.
Are you learning anything really cool in there? Yeah.
Yeah. So far, I mean, we just started, and I'm learning these a couple of different plugins.
The plugins are very interesting. The things that they can do on ChatGPT for sure.
So
it's going to be interesting to see where that ecosystem goes.
Yeah,
I'm seeing the ecosystem shift really hard towards putting together pieces to make automations happen.
Yeah, I just got my first email about a new, like someone trying to sell an automation system to ChatGPT.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I'm a little cautious about doing automation because I feel like that, like especially with social media, I feel like a lot of times it'll get a lot of platforms catch on to that immediately.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much about like automating books or whatever. And Google said that they don't care if it's AI content, if it's good content.
Yeah.
That's basically their stance on it, which I knew that would be their stance on it. The whole reason their stance was no AI content is because they wanted to catch up with the game.
Yeah.
Because they were behind. I knew as soon as they felt they were more caught up, they'd be like, well, of course you could have AI content. We have Bard after all, and all the other things. Oh my God. And if you've seen Dolly 3, oh man, it's got full ChatGPT integration, and like it'll just make the image you describe pretty much exactly as you describe it. Like with
Wow.
I'm just like, the only thing about it is I haven't seen anything that I would call a photorealistic image come out of it.
Mhm.
But if that's the trade-off I have, man, the images I can make, it's insane. And it just nails text. Like it just does text. Like it's not even like, oh, it kind of does text. No, it just does text, period.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's really cool. But yeah, that's cool. I'm interested to know what you learned from that class.
Yeah.
Because I would hope that you learn a lot of really valuable stuff for what they're charging.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was my main thing.
Yeah.
Just like I really want to learn like really how to dominate and automate.
Absolutely. But that's cool, man. I can't wait to see your book when it comes out. What is it titled? Do you have you settled on one?
I'm playing with one thing that's I'm either thinking of like one of the subtitles being like dealing with the saboteur within.
Okay.
Like don't shoot yourself in the foot unmasking the actor's saboteur within, or something like that nature. Something with actors in there and something with saboteur in there is what I'm kind of trying to figure out. Because that's what the book is about, actors and self-sabotage. I'm probably gonna do a couple of like informal polls with people, like give them like 3 options and ask people what they think would be a good title, so that something that's engaging. So
what about something that centers around the common phrase "don't break a leg"?
That could be,
that's really big. Like every actor knows what that means.
Yeah.
So that could be something that you could workshop somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe are you breaking your leg? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
yeah,
how to, you know, how to break something like what, how to break a leg, but not break, you know,
yeah.
in a sense. So,
but yeah, I can't wait to see
and
that done, man.
have you been working on stuff too? Like, I know maybe you can't say it, like specifically, but have you been trying
For what?
like just with Chat GBT and I think with or API and then
Yeah, and I've also been working pretty hard to learn some new programming stuff also.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been developing some new prompts and stuff for copywriting and marketing and stuff. So.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do my talk on next year at HTL. I've rolled a few things around in my head. The one thing I keep coming back to is maybe doing something like 60 ways to make money with your voice or something, and then just power through them, like just as, because I know a ton of different places you can basically sell your stuff online and different ways you can market it online. And I think that might be a really good talk that I could deliver and put a lot of pack a lot of value into either 1 hour or two, you know, just kind of stack them like bricks, you know. But yeah, that's the one I'm most rattling around, thinking I'm going to do probably something like that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with title. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like what can I say in a title that's going to convey what the class is going to be about and cause people to want to attend.
Yeah.
But how you been, Byron? Busy working, I know that.
So for those who don't know, I work for a professional sports organization.
Yeah.
And we just completed the world's highest value equestrian event with a $3 million event about 2 weeks ago. Our other going concern is our soccer team, which last night clinched first place in the league. So there are two games left, but they cannot be beaten, which also gets them an automatic entry into CONCACAF. And if you are a pro soccer, football follower at all, that's the championship of North America, Central America, parts of Northern South America. So yeah, we're going to get to play like Ecuador or Mexico or the Vancouver Whitecaps or somebody in Calgary in February, which will be interesting. But upshot of which means my professional life got even busier. So it is what it is. And then trying to keep up my nonprofit theater company is mounting a production that they moved in the theater today. And then I'm also involved in some little project where I'm trying to get some recordings done, which is it's not a difficult task, Scott, but it does require a certain time commitment. So
it does. And
between those things, I'm doing well, but I'm busy enough. Yeah.
But fortunately, you have learned techniques that allow it to require as minimal time commitment as I think is possible. If I ever find a way to make it quicker, I will certainly pass it along.
Well, the only way to make it quicker would be to white label somebody else's voice, and I'm not sure I want to do that completely.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's that's an interesting thought in and of itself that we could have at some point, but you know, does somebody who has some kind of association with me want to buy my recording, or do they care? Or could I mean, I do have permission to use a few recordings as they are from some other people. And would I be better to put a conglomerate together, you know, small, you know, say you've got a couple more, I give you a couple of mine to sell, you give me a couple of yours to sell, we throw Lisa in there, whatever else, would that be better or worse? And I don't know the answer to that question yet.
I think that I think having a library of your own is good.
I do.
You know,
I do tend to think that's the way it is, but I wouldn't be opposed to necessarily saying to someone, I don't have a recording for that exact thing, but you know what? I've got this one that Lisa's voice, or you'd rather listen to you find a female voice easier to listen to when you go to sleep. Here, listen to this one. So there might be room for it, but I think it's good to have your own too.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I hope you get some time set aside for that other project.
I
audio.
am working on it. Yes. Yes, it is definitely on the list to hopefully get. Well, I have a video to watch apparently, or should soon have a video to watch.
Yeah, it should soon. I got to download it and get it re-uploaded and all that.
Yeah, and then some time on that this week for sure. So.
Yeah. But yeah, like you didn't miss much in class tonight. That is vital for the purpose of getting recordings done. What we were doing tonight was all about what happens after recordings are done and we're ready to start marketing stuff. So
fair enough.
But there was a little nugget in there that you might want to watch for.
Well, I will definitely watch it. So
But yeah,
kind of an Easter egg or something.
Yeah, this was week 7. So
wow, how time flies.
How time flies. But yeah, I've actually got a lot to do this next week for class. So, and I got to record a video tomorrow about how to get ChatGPT to write shit in your voice. I know how, but I need to record a nice clean video to put up because I asked a bunch of people, or I asked if anybody wanted one, and a bunch of people raised their hand and they do want it. So, gonna put that together.
Yeah, I was one of them.
Yeah. But yeah, that's
Chat GBT can actually be. That ought to be a challenge.
What was that?
I said that ought to be a challenge in some cases for Chat GBT.
For you, maybe because ChatGPT has ethical standards, and if it were to sound like you, Joe, it might violate some of the ethical standards. So yeah, you would have to look out for that. But
they're restricted to English too. What can you say?
I don't. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is.
I've been accused of not.
Yeah, but all right, guys. Unless anybody's got anything else pressing, man, I think we can call it an evening here. I hope everybody has a super productive week, and maybe if any of y'all have an extra lucky day, that'd be awesome. Especially y'all win that gigantic lottery that's gigantic again after it was just gigantic last month. It seems like
gigantic is it?
Last I saw was 750 million. For the Powerball.
I won $5 on a scratch and win.
Oh, hey, that's awesome. That's awesome.
That'll get me there just about as quick, won't
it? Sure. I always say I will never win the lottery, but I beat it every week that I don't play. Yeah.
Good point.
Well, it's not the rent money, but
yeah, it's exactly. It's not the rent money.
Well, even when I go to Vegas, I might spend $100 gambling on slots or something. And again, it's not the rent money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
My best day gambling ever was years ago. I was at a conference in New Orleans, and we were on this walking tour, the ghost walking tour. And the purpose of the ghost walking tour is to stop at as many bars as possible that may or may not be haunted. And it was very interesting. We had a self-proclaimed vampire as our tour guide, who by the end of the evening invited me to his wedding the next week. And I'm like, oh, fortunately, I'll already be home. But along the way, we're in one of these bars and I got VLTs. And of course, I didn't have any Canadian or didn't have any American coins. So I borrowed a quarter from one of my buddies. And by the time we left that bar, I was up to $10. So that was pretty good on the return.
You were up to $10?
$10
you
off
broke
a
it.
quarter.
Okay, yeah.
And so I gave my buddy back 50 cents, and he goes, well, he's like, well, you didn't give me very much. I said, well, you doubled your money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think the best.
And then I bought the drinks, I think, at the next place. So,
best day I ever did, I think I won about $50 on a scratch off once. I
One time,
remember- How much?
104 one time.
104.
Yep.
Now I've got an uncle who has won like $25,000 once, but he also has a gambling addiction and has definitely spent way more than he's ever won in his lifetime.
That's part of it. One of my brothers-in-law won a little bit. Well, I don't remember the exact amount, probably like between $50,000 and $100,000. So he paid off my youngest sisters-in-laws, the babies who are twins. He paid some of their school bills and, you know, paid off his mortgage or part of his mortgage or something. And
awesome.
You know, and that was gone, right? You know, like,
yeah. I mean, honestly, $100,000. Don't get me wrong. It's not like chump change. I would never turn it down, but it doesn't go that far.
No, it's not. It's not as life-changing as people think it would be.
Yeah, you're not retiring from $100,000. It's not happening.
I worked a place. I worked at a place for a long time where, basically Christmas time you'd get like $1,000 cash bonus, and on the one hand that sounds like a lot of money, but on the other hand, you know, it makes Christmas a little bit nicer, but it's not going to change.
Right.
Change your life, you know.
Yeah.
I used to do 100 to 115 every year.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
No.
But anyways, all right, guys.
Have a
we
good
will
evening.
see you next week.
Yeah,
Have a good week.
So it's got canines or fangs.
The vampire.
I want to make sure if you have canines rather than just fangs. I'm not sure which. You.
Me,
the one
I
hanging
have
out.
missing teeth. I have dentures in my future.
Okay, let's make sure you didn't have fangs. Just
No
check.
fangs. Just,
I think he was trying to see if you got turned by the vampire.
Oh, no. Although the funniest thing I've seen this week, I can end on this note, is I've been not binge watching, but regularly watching What We Do in the Shadows. It's on Disney Plus, and it's about these vampires that live in Staten
Oh
Island.
my God, they're your relatives.
And the funniest episode ever. It's a simple thing, but I'm still chuckling over it. In the episode in season 2, wherever I am, they went to the superb owl party at their neighbors.
Right.
Think about it. They went to a superb owl party.
Yes.
Okay.
And there was, yes, I get what the superb owl party is, but you're just
spell it out if you're having trouble.
Just move the spacing there of the
A
syllables.
superb owl. As
Write
their
it
one,
down.
as their emotional vampire listener said, I know they got it wrong. I tried to convince them, but it's just too funny. And he says, plus, I didn't try that hard. So from now on, I'm going to go to everybody's superb owl party and wish people well, superb owl.
Wish them a happy superb owl in February.
In February.
In February. Is it the last Sunday or the first Sunday or something like that? Yeah. Sean had to spell it out for people. No,
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, yes, you totally look like the vampire.
Well, one of my buddies
Okay.
pointed out that one of the vampires is the guy who took over the company in the IT crowd. And I'm like, yes, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Anyway.
How many wives did he have when he died?
Almost as many as he had when he was in the IT crowd. All right, I better leave now.
All right.
everybody.
We'll see everybody next week.
Next week.
Bye.